Stephen Weeks, Public Affairs Officer at the Embassy of the United States of America, Professor Valerie Stoute, Professor of Postgraduate Studies at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, representing Professor Diana Reinsing, the President of the University of Trinidad and Tobago, Ms. Joycelyn Young, Acting President of NIHERST, Professor Clement Imbert, Professor of Material Technology and Manufacturing Processes at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, Professor Emeritus Michael Fisher, Distinguished Professor, Institute of Physical Science and Technology and the Department of Physics at the University of Maryland, Professor Anthony Kalloo, Professor of Medicine at Johns Hopkins University and Director of the Division of Gastroenterology and Hepatology at Johns Hopkins Hospital, Dr. Naila Murray, Research Scientist at the Xerox Research Center, Europe, France, specially invited guests, attendees, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you all good morning. This morning we have quite a treat for you all, as we have some of the brightest minds in science in this very room, here to share some of their experiences with us. These scientists are all Trinidad and Tobago born. Yes, Mr. Caruth, Tobago born as well. But before we go on to hear about science and culture, the rise of the machines, the dawn of a new era in surgery, and casual conversations with a world-renowned professor of physics, I would like to call Mr. Cecil Caruth, the representative of the Board of Governors of NIHERST, to welcome you all to today's proceedings. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cecil Caruth.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and privilege to welcome you at such an opportune moment when, in a real sense, we are at a crossroads in Trinidad and Tobago in science. And so it is very rewarding and a very happy feeling to have so many of you out here this morning, on a Saturday morning, when most people try to do their own domestic business, to hear what these icons, as enumerated by our MC today, Joseph Ryan, have to say about science. Without science, as you know, the world would have been a very different place. And we hope that science can filter into the minds of some of our younger people to get them on the way to discover themselves. Science is about discovery. And I want to welcome all of you. In particular, it might be a little bit outside of my remit to welcome the acting president of NIHERST, Ms. Joycelyn Young, to welcome Mr. Stephen Weeks of the U.S. Embassy, to welcome Professor Valerie Stoute, and especially, forgive me, to welcome my very, very good friend, Professor Mellows. I don't know what contribution you've been making this morning, but certainly you make some contribution. And my good friend, Watusi, and others of that ilk, and those who have presented their discovery in science, so that the life of our people will be enhanced in some form of fashion. The work is just beginning. It's only a small step. You remember when the guy got on the moon? It's only a small step, but let us make it a big occasion. And so, the icons, we welcome you. I will not call your names again. One is nearly born in Tobago because his sister was Mexican. that is the Professor Fisher. Yes, Tobago is a famous place, you know, you don't know that. The guy who invented logarithmic tables and stuff like that, he was a Tobagonian, eh? I don't know if I'm telling the truth, but I heard so. Professor Michael Fisher, I understand his sister was conceived in Tobago. Dr. Naila Murray, I thought she was a big, kind of big, you know, in stature, but she's very small but very effective and dynamic. Professor Anthony Kalloo, John Hopkins, as you know, is very famous for everything, does all the research, cancer, everything. Professor Clement, Imbert, who is always writing about stars. I mean, is his name Imbert?
Not about stars, woods.
Use of words. On the papers, and I recognize Professor Anthony Kalloo and all those others who are here to take part in this conversation. It is a conversation. It is an interaction with the icons. And you see them, they're real persons, they're not weirdos. They're icons. And they haven't changed their form, they're still human beings. So it means that I saw a little boy across there. He can take note of that and know that he can step up in the plate and maybe get the other little children and see another person here. Nice to see young people, you know, being in the school business, I know that. So, did I leave out anything? I welcome all of you. Give yourself a round of applause. Wake up. I said I was doing it on behalf of NIHERST, right?
All right, thank you, Mr. Caruth. Always a pleasure when you have to speak. At this point, I would like to invite Professor Valerie Stoute to bring us a few greetings from the University of Trinidad and Tobago.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That is a very hard act to follow. But nevertheless, on behalf of the National University, the University of Trinidad and Tobago, I would like to welcome, first of all, the representative from the U.S. Embassy, the Stephen Weeks, of the Public Relations representative from the U.S. Embassy, and of course, I want to welcome our icons. I find it hard to call Dr. Naila Murray an icon. She looks like a baby. But at any rate, Dr. Naila Murray, Professors Fisher, Kalloo, and of course, Clement Imbert, who is my friend, my decades-long friend, with whom I've had many previous conversations. I don't know if I'm talking out of turn, but Clem used to come to visit me when I was a UWI staff member outside my lab, and we would speak for hours. So maybe when he starts to speak, I'll leave. And he's not taking me on. But seriously speaking, it is my great pleasure to be here today, and as was emphasized by Mr. Caruth, to see all of you here. I want to really thank NIHERST for constantly pushing us, for always involving the tertiary institutions in Trinidad and Tobago, for being at the forefront of the science and technology charge in Trinidad and Tobago. And this event, tonight's event, all of the events that they have are all about keeping us aware. And I know for myself personally, because Joycelyn sends me so many interesting things that without NIHERST, I think we would be decades backward. So today, I want to thank the icons, but I want, more importantly, to thank NIHERST for its efforts and to tell them that we appreciate it. So once again, on behalf of the University of Trinidad and Tobago, I welcome all of the icons for being here with us, for affording us this opportunity to engage them in conversation. I want to thank you for being here, because a conversation is a dialogue. So once again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. Thank you, icons. Thank you very much, NIHERST. Enjoy.
Thank you, Professor Stoute. I know we are all eager to hear the icon speak, but we'd like to invite Mr. Weeks of the U.S. Embassy to give some greetings from the U.S. Embassy, without whom this today could have not have been possible. Mr. Weeks.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank, of course, NIHERST for bringing everybody together and making this event possible, and I want to thank the icons for coming. We have the U.S. Embassy in Port of Spain has a very, very close relationship with NIHERST, and they do really fantastic things, supporting students and events and helping really develop science and technology in Trinidad and Tobago, which, as we all know, is the future. And that if Trinidad and Tobago is going to diversify its economy and create a workforce for the 21st century, NIHERST is going to be a big part of that, and we really appreciate all of their efforts. What I like about this event in particular is that you have people, experts in their fields, who are always pushing forward, but then at the same time, they are also expanding out. And by that I mean they're at the tops of their fields, but they also understand that science is about exchange and dialogue and sharing information, and that the more that we know each other about different fields, and the more that we exchange different views with each other, the more scientific knowledge and understanding will increase, not just within each specific field, but also more broadly among the general population. And I think that that is one of the things that NIHERST does so well, is expanding general scientific knowledge among the general population, so that even if not everybody can be an expert in gastroenterology or other very technical scientific realms, they can have a better understanding of how the world works. And that will help them be more productive, better citizens, and make it easier to adapt to a world that's always changing and about which we know more and more every day. Thank you very much. I look forward to